and it's even about what you expose them to, like all of the frequencies and music shows, all of that matters. Like people just be having kids just to have kids, and they don't think anything around their environment is affecting them subconsciously.
If you grow up and then as an adult you go away from everything foundationally that I put in you, then that is one thing. But if you are telling a child that they are something different than what they biologically are, even as adults, that used to be called you got mental issues because you're believing something different than than scientifically than what you are. But
Gender
now when we
dysphoria.
can say, well, a woman is whatever somebody believe it is, but we input that into a child. Listen, you could be as delusional as you want as an adult. Freedom of speech, do what you want to do inside of your bedroom. I don't care. But when we
Your
talking
kids.
about, I mean, I kind of feel Slimmy because if Slimmy says, now I don't know, the one thing that I don't know, I can't speak on of whether, I can't say I agree with you because I don't know how true it is that they are making sacrifices specifically to get ahead. That's a completely different conversation. But if we are saying that they are grooming these child to be something, their children, I agree with that 100%.
But the reason I'm just using the word sacrifice, but grooming is probably the better word. And the reason why this shit clicked one day, I was just like, yo, Dwayne Wade went on this whole thing with his son getting turned out. And next thing you know, he's the owner of the Utah Jazz. To me, that was just completely wild. This shit was, I was just like, wait a minute. How all of a sudden does he own a team? Like he wasn't even that far removed from basketball. And he's instantly an owner. After he have his son, turns his son into a girl.
So I do
That
want to
shit was
get
tricky
I
as
do want to
fuck.
get Carrie's perspective on this, but let me ask Quentin a question. Quentin, are you ever suspicious at all at some of the stuff that you say and or some of the stuff that you see, whether it be in celebrity culture or whatever, to where it could lend itself to having a conspiracy? You may not necessarily have proof, but it look a little wild to the human eye, and it's like, you know what, that just ain't right. Do you ever have that
Generally, no.
mindset, or is it
Generally, no.
100% you have to be proof? It have to be proof.
I didn't say 100%, but generally, no. I don't think like that. No. There's 10,000 more things that could have changed this child's mind that makes him want to be gay. Like he got fucking divorced from his mom, and then he went with this bitch Gabrielle Moon, and they moved, and maybe he met some motherfucker at school that changed his mind. Why does it have to be the parents?
No. I'm
That's,
not just talking
that's totally
about this.
plausible that could have happened. You met a gay ass nigga at school, and I was like, oh fuck, man, my daddy, whatever he told me,
I'm
I
not
don't
just
believe him
talking
no more.
about this subject in particular, but in general. Does everything have to be proven to you by fact, or do just you have like this, like sometimes your instincts or your
No, no,
intuition kick
let's
in?
talk it this way. I'm more like of a civil court thing and not a murder court thing. So like if by preponderance of the evidence, it may be true. I may type of shit.
If somebody is walking down the street and they got a black hoodie on and they got their hands in their pockets and they start running towards you, do they have to prove to you that they're about to rob you before you make adjustments and start to protect yourself? Or do you just by instinct say, you know what, I'm about to get the fuck out of the way. I ain't about to be going down that street?
I don't know. I've
Because
never
I'm
been in a
wondering at what point do your instincts or your intuition kick in? Does it only kick in
well,
personally or does
this
it
is
never
like
kick in or what?
this is like apples to oranges. Like when it comes to protecting myself, that's a little different. But between me thinking a
No,
dude
no, no. It's
a
not.
gay kid got groomed because
It's
the same
not
way.
because
Yes, it is.
I
Protecting yourself
believe
is
that
totally different.
intuition exists in all things. And although we may not necessarily be able to prove it, it doesn't mean that you should go to jail if you can't get it proven in the court of law. But I can, in some instances, I can pretty much figure out, no, that shit ain't right. Like I can go in the spot and look
You're
around and say, listen, I don't have to see two guys having sex with each other to realize that I'm in a gay bar.
That's
you
because
You know what I'm
you're
saying?
unique. you're speaking of stuff out like what y'all are talking about the stuff outside of you. They don't have nothing to do with you. It's has stuff to other people's other shit. And y'all think I don't think like
I'm
when it
not.
if
I'm
it's
correlating it.
if it pertains to being yes, but when I see it and it pertains to someone else, generally speaking, no, I don't think there's underlying anything why this what's going on. No, I don't think that.
So you would just be at the Diddy party, just like, damn, I didn't know that was about to happen.
And
Then,
he
huh?
he'd be one of the ones that's eating the fruit off the girl on the table and be like, she was grown.
I mean,
Because
yeah, it's like I don't
you're not gonna
understand
question
how
nothing.
I
Okay.
don't understand. And again, objectively, I'm trying to understand how your mind works because I think that
I
intuition.
just well, you keep taking it off stuff that I was speaking directly to. I was directly speaking to the situation that we were talking about as this kid changing their mind. I
Yeah, but
wasn't thinking.
you're
I wasn't speaking to all other shit. Generally speaking, if people just make up an opinion unbased and you just feel some, this come down to this whole quarter. I feel some shit. I feel fuck
My
statistics,
bad.
fuck data, but I feel it. So this is what I'm saying. I don't. I'm not.
yeah,
I don't.
but even when you go, okay, so I'll give you another example. When you science is only science or it only becomes a fact when you prove a hypothetical or a theory to be true. So a hypothetical or a hypothesis is an educated guess that you then go through trials to prove whether it's true or not. But in order for you to even make that educated guess, you have to go off of something. You have to see something. It has to be something that set off something in your brain, and you say, you know what? I don't know if that makes sense, or I don't know if this makes sense, and then you start going through the process to prove whether it's true or not. So even the basis of something that we can prove to be true or not, in order to create a census, in order to have data points, in order to do a poll, in order to understand people, at some point somebody had an instinct to say, I don't know if that makes sense or not, or I want to prove this to be true or prove this to be untrue. And then they go through the trials to then substantiate their argument. But you can't just say data points and stats or facts, because even when you say that, that can need additional context, right? If somebody says, well, all black women voted for, or 91% of black women voted for Kamala Harris, I then want to go through and say, okay, well, what age demographic, and did it skew this way or did it skew that way? My point is that it still takes instinct. It still takes intuition. It still takes something that feeds into it. Data alone don't just come from anywhere. It comes from people theorizing or thinking something or having some instinct that something is different than what it is that's being presented to them, and then they go about proving it. So if somebody tells me, well, I don't think any differently, and the only thing that I go off of, even with regard to this situation, is only facts, I have to call cap, because that would mean that you are ignoring the very thing that you have in you, the very God given talent or instinct that you have in you to have discernment and to pay attention to what's going on. You don't turn it on and off only when it applies to you. You pay attention and it just naturally kicks in when you observing stuff. So if you're intentionally saying that, well, I'm going to suppress this thing when it comes to having these conversations, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, bro.
But Anton, that's why I said earlier when him and Slimmy were talking, that's why I brought up the whole point of science, because you have to have that in order to get to a certain point. And everything then it's not proven. Hell, most of the stuff that we use right now is still not proven. Like gravity
I
is still
agree.
a thing.
There's so many different cracks and crevices. I don't even think we've cracked 1% of the Earth's mysteries. There's part of the ocean that we haven't even explored yet. Like,
Yeah, we can't.
I don't even think we're even 1% there of the things that we think that we know, but we're really just theorizing, or we just making an educated guess and then we give it a name or whatever, so on and so forth. I'm just not that. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
off.
my grandmother used to say, "What is that?" And I would say, "A bird," and she would say, "Well, that's what you call it, but really, what is it?"
So I
I
get
don't know.
Slimmy. I get Slimmy, right? I think that Slimmy is way further out there when it comes to what he thinks, and he may be accurate on a lot of stuff. I'm just not sure if we could prove it to the point, or whatever.
Yeah, no,
But
you can't prove any of that stuff. Like because you can only go by clues. Like they're not gonna actually let that information leak of what's going on. Now, if you start deep diving and start getting into like people who've been involved and you start watching some of their videos, like they expose a lot of stuff. I even seen KRS-One. He was
That's
he
because
was kind of
KRS
hinting.
One is part of the masonry. That's why.
He be acting like he play both sides though. But I do want to share the video because I actually found it. And because the thing that they
Do
used
your
to say
thing.
about Zion Wade is they said well Zion was he was a certain way from 3 years old. They say he always wanted to be a girl at 3 years old. That's when they first started seeing it. I talked to him about your birthday. Oh, I'm so happy. You're so happy. How old you turning? Oh, 8. You talking about ladies? We had 8. What? I talked to him about your birthday. Oh, I'm so happy. You're so happy. How old you turning? Oh, 8. You talking about ladies? We had 8. What? Yeah, so that was him blatantly asking about. He was like, "You see them ladies over there?" Like, so he's asking about women. He's asking about women. He's not in. He doesn't want to be a girl. He's looking like a little boy. All of a sudden, Gabrielle Union comes around, and this young man wants to be a girl. Nah, I can't rock with that shit, bro. I can't. They groomed him to be that way, and we don't have no proof. But they probably groomed Magic Johnson's son to be that way. They probably did the same thing with Magic Johnson's son.
Quentin
Who
not
knows?
going. Quentin not rocking.
Yeah, he don't have to. He don't have to.
This
But
this is how
like,
this is how people get sued for defamation. They just make shit up about people that's unfounded.
No,
Literally.
defamation is to say something is a fact. You can give your opinion on what you think happened and also preface it by saying that this is my opinion. This don't necessarily reflect what it is
I
that's
can't.
real. That's real.
Y'all's
Saying this
favorite
is
thing
what's
that
actually
y'all's
going
favorite
on.
thing to say after you say your opinion. That's a
Allegedly.
fact, though. That's what y'all all say after y'all say some shit.
No,
That's slang, Quentin.
It's, Mika says it, Slimmy says it, and Anton says it. Carrie don't really say it, but these y'all other three be like, "That's a fact, though," and that should be
No,
opinion as
I
fuck.
say it's a fact when I know it's a fact.
Carrie, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm commenting on at this
What are
point.
your thoughts? What are your thoughts on? Okay, let me ask you a specific question because I know Carrie like to play it safe. Carrie one day is gonna run for Senate, y'all. So we got to make sure that we ask specific questions. Carrie, what are your thoughts on the promotion of the culture, the promotion of sassy culture in general? Do you think that it's a thing, or do you think that that's just naturally what people are? So, like for example, in an example of Judge Mathis, do you think that he's promoting the culture because it's beneficial to him, or do you think that he's promoting the culture, gay culture, because that's, for example, what his son is into?
I think that I would think, I don't know. I would think that he initially at the very least did it because of his son. Um I mean, yeah. So if that's the case, then I mean maybe he's like, and I'll benefit publicity wise, but I really don't think that that would be the perspective he would take. And I don't necessarily think that people mean to. I don't know. That's a tough topic, y'all. It's
Is
because
it?
I think to
We
Slimmy's
going right
point,
down
either
that path on the next
Anton,
topic.
either you, one of y'all said it. Like, I think there is a disappointment that's there, especially for a dad, like a father. But at the same time, if you're not one of those parents that are like, either you stop being this way or like get out, if you're attempting to support your child, then I could see where if you're a celebrity, you might take a position, like you might support an event, or you might make a statement, or you might do something that shows your child that like you love them regardless.
Do you
You
think the
can't.
culture? Go ahead, Mika. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask Carrie a question. Do you think you can't show that you are accepting of your child without actually have to be involved, because even though it's your child, right? This is a separate person, this is a separate human. So, do I have to compromise myself in order to show you that I care for you?
No, I don't think you should.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm
No,
asking?
I absolutely get what you're saying, and no, I don't think you should. I think the problem is that it is a real conflict for a lot of people. I think that this
Mhm.
whole LGBTQ, like the whole push, the whole acceptance, the whole way that things go is no a lot of people don't really know how to address it. And so I think you have people addressing it from different angles at different points for different reasons. Like I don't really think people have a rhyme or reason to how they should move if their child comes to them and says they're gay or they want to be the other gender. Like how do you prep for that? So um yeah. Now in terms of the like what's his name? Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union, I don't think that I think that Slimmy is onto something, but I don't think that it was intentional. I don't think that Gabrielle like set out to change the boy to a girl. But I also think that because she clearly has liberal views on the topic, because she like, I think that that's caused her to be more supportive of, oh, you want to paint your nails, I'll paint your nails. Like there's no boundary. It's like I accept gay people, I accept trans people, I accept everybody. So here we have your son who is clearly showing that he wants to be a girl, so let's accept him. And so
But Carrie,
she might mean well, but I absolutely agree she's grooming him to continue down that road.
I
So
also
it
think, to your point though, with what you just said, is also a point of whether he's gay or not. The stuff that they have them doing is he well, at one point he was a child when it was really big. He was like 9 or so, and she has him doing things that if he was a girl would be inappropriate. So you're doing these things to affirm that you're okay with his sexuality, but he's out at a gay pride parade. He has on a half shirt.
right. But to me, now that part, in my opinion, goes even deeper to, I think Mika, you said this earlier. That to me goes into a lack of really understanding what you're getting into when it comes to parenting. Like one of
Mhm.
the biggest things that I've realized for myself personally is, well, myself would be personally, it's hard to raise, it's hard to raise your children if you're not very clear on what you believe, like what you stand for, what's acceptable, what's not, um, and what you expect of them, what you expect
Mhm.
of your name. Like if you don't have certain things really mapped out and clear, then to me you're gonna run into a period in time with your children where it's almost like anything kind of goes. And I think that this again,
Mhm.
this LGBTQ whatever thing only exacerbates that for parents who have not really sat and thought about what is the rule here. Because the reality is this: listen, little man, okay, you want to be a girl? Here's the thing, you're only 10. So whether you want to
Yeah.
be a girl or a
Mhm.
boy, whether you like men or women, you're not dating right now anyway. You can't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Like I'm not saying say this, but the idea is I really shouldn't even be having the
Right.
conversation surrounding any of this with you right now anyway. You need to be focused on playing with
Right,
Legos.
that's what's wrong with Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, because in their quote unquote affirming, that's what they're doing. That's why I said what I said, because in their affirming, they are over sexualizing that child. Okay. And to me, the whole LGBT thing with children is just a gateway to pedo land. Because if children can affirm what sexuality they want to be, then children can affirm everything else. Can say,
And
"I
I
can
don't
agree
make up
with
my
you.
mind on this."
don't forget,
But I
don't
also
forget.
think that that's also happening though with people, even if their daughters want to be a girl.
Mhm.
Like you see little girls, some of the stuff that people are putting their daughters in at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, thinking it's cute. Like, again, that goes back to what's your baseline principles anyway. So we're a lot of people, they're kind of like rolling with it to me.
But don't
Let me.
forget
I'm gonna come to
that.
you, Slimmy. Let me just make
Oh,
a, because I know it's some people that may be just coming into the show and they saying, "Oh, you got the wrong picture up there." No, I
yeah,
don't
man,
have
it's
the.
the right photo.
No, no, no. It's cool. They may have just came in. They didn't get the foundation of the conversation because new people coming in, new people coming out, or going out. Judge Joe Brown, who was the person in the picture, is the one that said Judge Mathis promotes gay culture. So the picture is correct. I just want to preface this by saying that. Go ahead, Slimmy.
I don't
Yeah,
see
I
how
didn't.
anyone can read that and then make that assumption that you have the wrong pictures. Like they
Well,
clearly didn't read.
I'm not tripping off
Fucking
of what they
idiots.
saying. I'm not
I am.
changing the picture
They're
though.
fucking idiots.
I'm not changing the picture. But it's cool. Go ahead, Slimmy.
No, but all I'm saying is also don't forget that they was talking about cutting off his penis. Like that shit
Correct.
was out of control.
They
I mean, but
was.
that whole thing, and to me, the need to reverse that, to say that doctors can't do that, means that we allowed that to happen in the first place, which is ridiculous and sick to me. So I agree with you, Slimmy, but it's not just them. Like, I
No,
I
ain't.
I don't know how you can get to the point where your adolescent child like can come to you and say, I want to be a whole different gender, and you're like, yeah, let's go, as opposed to, hold on a second, like, you still got growing to do. Let me talk to you about who you are. Let me I just I don't get how there should be so many other options that you go to before, well, not even before, there should be so many other areas that you go to that would prevent you from ever, in my opinion, getting to the place where you think that your child needs to go and get their sex changed. So
Yeah,
But
but
they're
and that's
starting
the
that
whole point,
early.
and that's why I say it was grooming. They definitely and it was and also that it was promotion, and they were using that child to spawn a whole movement or a movement that was already in place. They used the kid for this.
I just don't think, I agree with you. I just don't think that the way that you say it makes it sound like it was a game plan, as opposed
It
to,
was.
Hmm.
I don't think it was a
So,
game plan. I don't
I'm
sometimes,
not.
think that.
sometimes it is, and then sometimes if they, sometimes in the entertainment industry, if they pick up on something, they will use it.
Yeah, and
No,
also Carrie.
I'm
You get
not
what I'm saying?
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
saying that there's no benefit that gets reaped or anything like that. What I'm saying is the way that you're saying it, Slimmy, it makes it sound like, hey, this is
Nefarious.
what we're going to do. We're going
Carrie,
to turn
Carrie,
your son into a girl. We're going to, get these partnerships. We're going to make her pretty, and then we're going to run
Carrie,
this thing
let
up.
me ask you a
But they,
question,
they,
Carrie.
they do though.
I think that's
Carrie,
what
let
happened.
me ask you a question. If you start dressing a 10, 11, 12 year old, 9, 8 year old in dresses and getting their nails painted and taking them to certain shows and events and stuff like that and telling them and confirming to them that's a girl, you don't think that that's literally grooming or intentionally turning that kid into something different?
I absolutely think it's grooming. Yes, I do. I'm saying that I don't think that it is intentional, in that it's like, hey, I got an opportunity for us. All we need to do is turn your son into a girl. What I'm saying is I think the bigger issue is really on the adult end. Like, I think even if his son never wanted to be a girl, I think that there's a high probability that Gabrielle Union probably is very supportive of the LGBTQ whatever community or whatever. So now if someone comes across her, like into her world, I think she's more inclined to support than to reject if she sees somebody who is transgender, interested in being transgender. So again, I'm not saying that they were not doing things that exacerbated it. I agree with you. I'm just saying the way that Slimmy presented it made it seem like it was a plot. And I don't think that it's a plot for people. I think that a lot of people are probably thinking that they're doing, I won't say the right thing, but they're probably thinking that they're doing what they should do in support of. Now, whether that's because they've been told that or they really believe it or whatever, I think that a lot of times these people are just, they're doing what they think they should do, or
But it,
they're afraid to buck against what's happening
so
before them.
Wait, wait,
so
wait.
if you
So
oh,
hold
go
on,
ahead.
Carrie. Hold on, Carrie.
And
Let
please
me ask
don't
you
take
this.
any of this to mean I condone this, because
No,
I
no, no.
don't. I'm just
I don't think you do. But I want to ask you this. I want to. So the mom has a big issue with this, and she
Hmm.
says that's not how she raised her
I would
son.
too.
And then, so the thing is, Gabrielle Union does not have children.
She
She's
got
not a
Oh,
one
she
mom.
now.
does. She has
She got
one.
She
one
does.
now.
She does.
She got
Oh,
one.
she got one with
She got
Dwayne
one.
Wade, though, right? She got a kid with
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. That kid was not hers though. Zaya or
Mhm.
Zion was not her child. That's
Correct.
my point. That was not her
Mhm.
child. So for her to step in and be supportive in any way or instrumental in any way of a child doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing and changing the child's sex and going against what the mother said shouldn't be done, that's problematic and it definitely seems intentional
But
and it
that's
seems
because
like
the
a
father
plot.
is
Well,
weak.
I'm
That's
not
because the
in
father is weak.
disagreement with you about it being
Dwayne Wade is weak.
problematic. I
I
100%
agree,
think it's
Mika.
problematic.
I
There's
ain't
no
Listen,
way.
this is.
There's
Go ahead,
no
Mika.
way. No, I was just getting ready to say there's no way. I don't care if she is in support of it. The father should never have let what is her name, Gabrielle Union, do anything with. I don't care if he is gay, right? And
yeah.
Gabrielle Union is so woke that somebody like me growing up, where I was a bit of a, what they call a tomboy, right? That she would have looked at me and said, "Oh, you like to ride bikes? You like to be out, playing with the boys? You must want to be a boy." No, I just like dirt bikes and stuff.
I agree with
So
you 100%,
there's
Mika.
nobody there stopping it.
Yeah,
Dwayne
and,
Wade
100%.
is
and to
that.
Carrie's point, and to Carrie's point, Gabrielle Union, she is very complicit. She's a little bit too complicit for that to not be her child, to move to be so liberal. Like at some Dwayne Wade, he failed as a man. He
Mhm.
failed as a
Well,
man.
he's walking around with his fingernails painted too. So
Well,
I don't
this is why I don't
Yeah.
believe. This is
I don't
why
know
I
what
am.
to expect from him at this point. It's like, what are you doing?
This is why I am 100% against. And I know that this is going a different way. This is why I'm 100% against step parents. I am,
Mm,
and I hate to say it
mm,
because you're raising children in two different households with two different mindsets and philosophies. And it could
mm.
not be more on display than to see the reaction of what the biological mother is saying. I don't want my son turning out like that. And they existing under the covering of Dwayne Wade and Gabriel Union that is teaching that kid a completely different thing, and you have zero voice and zero control over what is happening in that household. and and
Mhm.
and you're bringing somebody in that don't have a physical tie to that child and allowing for them to basically give you their cultural norm, and then that's the way that you're gonna then see life for the rest of your life. And again, that's why I am very, very, very much against. And I know that people say it's an extreme position, but I am very much against people dating and bringing other people into the lives of the kid in most situations. I can never say all. In most situations, because it then creates a clashing of what I'm teaching them and what you then bring into the conversation to teach them that is completely different. And so,
Yep.
I think that until the child gets grown or older, in most instances, I think that you got to remove yourself from having another person come into the household. That's just my personal beliefs. So,
No, I agree with the same thing. And every time I say that to women, they like, so I'm just supposed to be alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you probably
Like,
shouldn't. You probably should
yeah.
until the
But
kids is of
but but
age.
even when you look at that, a lot of the women that do, or even it's a smaller number with men, but a lot of the women that do get like men that come in their children's life, that like it's usually always something wrong after that. Like it's whether they're touching the kids or whether they're mentally or verbally abusive to the kids because it's not their kids. So they don't really have that connection to, and it's rare that I actually see that connection with step parents. Sometimes it does happen, but it's rare.